I now recognize my friend, my colleague, Mr. Waltz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I continue to be astounded at these hearings on the focus on the Doha Agreement, as though it was absolute and irreversible when the Biden administration on day one reversed the Keystone XL, has reversed border policy, has reversed Iranian maximum pressure, has reversed, tried to re-enter the Iran deal, the Paris Accords. I mean, we could go down a long list of reversals of this administration from the last that it had no issue doing, but suddenly we're to believe they were handcuffed. So let's go to the capabilities issue. A lot of focus and discussion on the 2,500 that President Trump left in place along with our only air base in the world, sandwiched between Russia, China, and Iran, but it ignores the conversation on the tens of thousands of contractors that kept the Afghan Air Force flying. President Ghani's last request as president of Afghanistan was for President Biden to please at least allow the contractors to stay so that the Afghan Air Force could continue the fight. It ignores our intelligence professionals that had been plussed up. It ignores the 7,000 NATO troops that were there and had to be fully withdrawn. So I find this quite a convenient narrative. But here nor there, I think at the end of the day, while we deeply care about our commitment to the Afghans, and it is horrendous what is happening to our former allies, despite denials from the Deputy Secretary of State, said she has no evidence they're being hunted down. Really, the piece there is international terrorism, and Afghanistan once again becoming a platform for al-Qaeda and ISIS. So, General Sadat, you testify there are thousands of al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, training in Afghanistan. Their leaders are moving freely in Afghanistan. The UN says 30 to 40 senior al-Qaeda leaders moving around freely in Afghanistan with several hundred fighters. Yet we have President Biden, who just on June 30th of this year said, remember what I said about Afghanistan? I said al-Qaeda is not there. I was right, patting himself on the back in front of a group of reporters. So, General Sadat, can you speak to al-Qaeda's presence, one, and then two, this narrative that, don't worry, al-Qaeda isn't suddenly the not-so-bad terrorists working with the not-so-bad Taliban against the really bad ISIS, which I think is conflating local conflicts with, I don't believe for a second the Taliban will stop al-Qaeda or ISIS from once again attacking Western interests, which is their absolute goal. But can you speak to that?
Thank you. Congressman, there is al-Qaeda leaders. Osama bin Laden's oldest son, Abdullah bin Laden, he is in Kandahar. He meets often with Haibatullah, the supreme leader of Taliban. In fact, he's advising them on Middle East and foreign donations collection from the Muslim countries. He's married to a Kandahari woman from Arghandab district in Kandahar. Osama Mahmoud, also known as Abu Zar, the leader of al-Qaeda in Indian subcontinent, is in Afghanistan. He lives there. Muhammad al-Ghamdi, al-Qaeda's number 2, comes and travels to Afghanistan.
So just in the, excuse me, General, just in the time I have remaining, they fully intend to rebuild and reconstitute their ability to attack the West.
I can tell you with certainty that some of the things you see in the Middle East, they have been trained in
we also have UN reporting that Siraj Haqqani, the Taliban's Minister of the Interior, are issuing passports with a functioning international airport to fly al-Qaeda, now with official documents, all over the world. Does anyone dispute that on this panel? Does they dispute the UN's reporting on this?
We agree some al-Qaeda leaders were given passports in order to travel and meet with their Middle Eastern allies and branches.
Can we just switch very quickly? Can we talk about Bagram and that critical 12,000-foot runway that was closer to the Chinese border than Mexico City is to the border with Texas? Who's sitting at Bagram now?
It's the Taliban, Congressman.
And is there a Chinese presence? Can you speak to the Chinese presence now? And
China wants to take Bagram Air Base as a commercial hub. But we know that they could turn it into a military airbase.
For what commercial reason? Would it be the, I don't know, the world's 3rd largest known lithium supply, 5th largest known copper, chromite, I mean, a whole slew of rare earths and minerals that we're dependent upon in our economy?
That's correct. China has contracts amounting to $20 billion with the Taliban today, and they are intending to use the Afghan mines, lithium, copper, gas and oil, and others. China is also bribing the Taliban to allow to build a road from China to Iran, because China has a 25 years oil deal with Iran, so they can travel through Afghanistan if the U.S. Navy blocks China in the Indian Ocean.
General, my time's expired, but General, I commend you for standing strong, and I commend people, that brave Afghans that continue to resist this oppression. And I will continue to press the administration on what happens if this deal with the devil that they've made with the Taliban goes wrong and America is once again attacked. Because we will need local allies, as we did when we had to go back into Iraq after Obama pulled us out, to continue this fight against extremism that the entire world is now seeing tragically on full display. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.